I've got a model over here that'll help understand a little better what we've just done, and kind of a look at if this guitar, you could see through it what you're actually seeing. Over here we've got two single coils and a humbucker, the 5-way switch, the mini switch, a jack. It gives you a good reference. You can see through from here, and we'll just spin it around, and you can see now from behind exactly what's going on there. And what we're working with here is this humbucker. You can see the wires coming out of there, and we're going to be using the same exact wiring as you see here. These 4 wires come out here. The ground wire, the bare wire, goes right to ground there. These ones come out, and then we're going to go right to the switch. And at the switch, you can see the different wiring there that will allow us to have the series switching, the coil tap, and the parallel all in one switch. And that's pretty much what you can do with a pickup like this, so why not have it? It's not going to take up too much room on your guitar. And then here will come the power wire. We'll put this back on the switch where we drew our position earlier. So now that we have that and you can see that, let's take a look. And what do we need to do here? Get this ground wire out of the way. This is the continuous ground we pulled off of that other mini switch, and it's going to go on this one right here. We've kind of designed it to work this way, and all you need to do is touch it with some solder there. Hold still for a second, and that's it. We're done. Now, the rest of the wire on this pickup, they didn't really strip back as much as we need, because we're going to have to come over to this switch. We've got to ground over to this pot, and we've got to hit here. So I want a little more wire to work with. So I'm going to cut this back. Now you can put something up on top of the guitar. In this case, I'll just take this paper I have here, because I don't want to cut into the guitar by accident. And we'll just take this X-Acto knife, and we'll just lightly split that wire. Peel it back. Okay, see if that'll do it. I think that'll get us over here where I want to be, and we'll be able to reach everything else. Okay, I like that. Let's go ahead and cut off this excess here. Don't need that. Let's take this bare shield wire, separate it out. It's just wrapped around these wires. You just pull that down. Want to make sure you get any little excess wire there pulled in, because if a ground wire happens to touch a hot wire, it'll short the guitar out. And then we'll just twist these together. All right, that's good. Separate these out. All right, let's take a look. I don't want to run this over the top of these wires, because it just makes a mess of it. So I'm going to stick this. The old one used to slip through inside underneath. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with this one. Let's just slide it underneath here, just for a cleaner job. Now that wire's tucked in there, because we're going to run this ground wire here to this pot right there. Same bare ground wire. We had one from the other pickup. We're going to put it on this pot right here. And that'll be out of the way. So let's just get it over there. Once again, I'm going to slip it under again. Just be nicer that way. Okay. Got this wire here. Let's pull it through. See, we've got a little excess wire. Let's catch it all. And at this point, when I'm wiring, because my eyes are not so good anymore, I'm going to put the super goggles on, and so I can really see what I'm doing in there. I want to make sure any tiny little hair wire, especially from the ground here, is not frayed and sticking out somewhere, because if it, like I said, if it touches any of the hot wires anywhere, it'll short the guitar out. It looks really clean. I'm going to go ahead and solder it on from here. And I'm going to go ahead and use a little, just take a little solder off here. I'm going to want to get a little tool ready here. I think I'll use my needle nose to hold that down once we get it in position, because you can't hold the soldering iron there forever, and as soon as you let go it might come back up. So let's just go ahead and get the soldering iron down. Little solder there. On the back of a pot like that, you might need to leave it there just for a second till it really takes. We're holding the wire down now. I want to get this solder to flow in to the other solder, which it's looks like we're pretty good there. Hold still for a little bit, and then let's just cut that off. We don't need all this excess. Just take that. We're done with that. Now we need to go to the wiring of the switch. We have a wire that's going to run from this position here. We're going to put the black wire, and this is where the hot wire from the switch comes from. So we're going to have to add another extra piece there. Let's just take a piece of green wire here, a little piece here. We'll just cut it off. Strip just a little bit off. These strippers you can set to whatever size wire you're using. So I've got it set for the 22 gauge that I have here, so that you still have some wire left when you cut it, and all you've done is get rid of the insulator. So we can set that wire into position. I'll just take my little X-Acto here. I'm going to spread that wire just a little bit. When I do that, it kind of helps hold it in place. Next, we need the black wire. That's going to go right with that one. See if we can get that in there with a little needle nose here. Get that twisted nicely. There we go. Let's go ahead and solder those in position. Get right on it. Doesn't take much, just a little touch. As soon as you see it flow, you're done. Okay. It's good. We'll just sort of move those out of the way now. Take a look here. We've got to bring the green wire right next to the black, and then we've got the red wire is going to cross over. So I think what we'll do, the red wire is going to be the trickiest here, so let's do that one first. We're going to strip a little excess off here, because this one has to touch two terminals, and you can do it just by stripping a little excess off. Cut that back. All right, that looks like that'll be long enough. We'll send it through the first position here. By spending a little bit of time getting the wire to hold still by itself really helps when you're soldering. So now we've got that wire just where we want it. Let's go ahead and just touch it with a little solder here. That's good. Catch this one. As soon as you see that solder flow, that's it. Get off of there. You'll start to melt the wire otherwise. And it looks really good. We'll just take our needle nose here, check it, make sure it's on there firmly. Yep, that looks good. Okay, now we've got our green wire. And that, it's a little more wire coming out of there than we need. Just trim that a little bit. Okay, stick that one through there. Once again, I'm gonna, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna catch that wire and turn it around. You don't need to tie the wires on. I've come across guitars from some manufacturers where they tie the wires, then they solder them. That's unnecessary, and it really causes trouble when you want to take something apart, because you have to heat the solder up and then try to untie it. It's pretty hard to do. So all you need is that's it. Holds in place. We got the solder on there. We're in good shape there. All right, now let's take this white wire here. Let's get this over to the ground. There we go. Hold still for a second. All right, we're on. Let's look and see if there's any little excess coming off. There's nothing. All right, we've got our wires for the pickup hooked up. Now we just have to hook our pickup up to the switch. No need for a lot of excess wire. Let's go ahead and cut this back right here. Let's just strip that a little bit. I like to spin the top so that when you stick it on there, part of it doesn't stick off one way or the other way. Keeps it nice and tight. Now we're going to want to just hook this last wire up to the switch. Let's put a little solder there. Looks a little dry. Take our needle nose here, grab on. And there we go. That's on there. Okay. Everything feels pretty solid. That should pretty much do it. Now all we need to do is test it out. I don't think I'll put the control box cover on yet. Let's test it out first. There is one thing that can happen with putting this kind of wiring together, the polarity between the pickups. We might have to switch that. And that would be the hot and the ground wire. If when we're in the position, we're going to find out here in a second because we'll plug it in. But if when these two pickups are on together, they sound real thin, it means that we've got the wrong polarity. We just need to switch those two wires around. So let's just plug it in and see if it sounds right. And let's make sure everything works before we close it up. Do a little quick tune. Sounds good. Sounds like where we want to be. Let's just check. Take a little screwdriver here. We're in the lead position right now, so this is just this pickup. So that's humbucker mode. This is our coil tab mode. And you can see we just have one pickup and then both. So we have series, parallel, and single coil. So we have our series sound, our single coil sound, and our parallel sound. And our polarity is good because when we switch into this position, it doesn't drop off and get real thin. So that's telling us that we're okay there. So success. Now we can take and put the cover back on, and that's what it takes to install a new pickup along with a switch to give yourself a little more variety in sound.